Conservative new media viewers, JLin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Brooklyn's 107-92 victory today, over the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta falls to 37-36 on the season. Brooklyn improves to 6-57 on the year. Jeremy played great in this game, and what happened in this game was that Brooklyn's bench just crushed the bench of the Atlanta Hawks. And partly why that happened is because Atlanta is missing three players right now that are in their rotation, their normal rotation. Kent Bazemore, Paul Millsap, and Thabo Sefolosha. And so what that's done is that's moved bench guys into the starting lineup, and it's made Atlanta's bench really weak. This gives you an idea of why the Nets having such a good bench is so important. Because even when guys are hurt, like Sean Kilpatrick and Joe Harris were today, the bench is still really strong. And they came through exceptionally well today, and I'm just so happy for the team and for General Manager Sean Marks and for Coach Atkinson and everything. And the Nets are now 7-8 in the month of March, so they're almost at 500. They've won 3 of their last 4 games, and they have a very real chance now of winning 20 games this year, which definitely did not look like the case coming into this month. So the Nets are on a roll, and it's just great to see. And like I said, the bench just mauled Atlanta's bench today, and it was just fantastic. Let's go over stats real quickly. For the bench, KJ McDaniels continues his excellent play, 11 points, 4 rebounds. Spencer Dinwiddie, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Brook Lopez, 23.7 rebounds. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 11 points, 13 rebounds. Jeremy Lin, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. Jeremy played 28 minutes. He shot 7 of 15 from the field, including 1 of 5 from three-point range, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 2 steals, 1 block shot, 4 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. Jeremy's plus-minus was a +1, and I will say that Jeremy was the best player in today's game. He was the most efficient player, meaning he had the highest game score, if you want to call it that. And he played controlled. I thought he started out a little bit slow. A lot of times, as I've said earlier in this season, when you play these games that have an early start time, guys are kind of out of rhythm because they're used to playing at night. And so Jeremy had some turnovers early on that weren't great, but then he was much steadier in the second half. I think 3 of his 4 turnovers came in the first half, and then in the second half he was much more locked in. He played smart. He played under control. 4 turnovers, yeah, it's more than you like, but the 8 assists, 4 turnovers, 2-to-1 ratio, that's pretty good. The only thing really you could say about Jeremy is he wasn't hitting his 3-point shots. A couple of them were fairly well contested, and sometimes it's just not on target. But he played smart overall. He was excellent in the pick and roll. He played an intelligent, calm game. And it's just getting easier and easier for him. The team is so much better with him back. Since he's been back since the All-Star break, the team is 7-10. Again, I'm not saying this is the greatest team of all time, but this team is much more competitive and much better with Jeremy around, and with the newer talent that's really starting to help out, like KJ McDaniels, like Quincy Acey. And I mean, essentially pretty much everybody on this roster can play. The only guys I'm not really sure about, really the only guy is Andrew Nicholson. I just have to see him play more. But Justin Hamilton right now is probably like the 14th man on the roster, and he scored 20 points in like the last game, I think. So that's what having a deep bench that you play a lot really, really helps out. And now it's starting to pay off. And as I've made this analogy before, it's like the Spurs. Everybody on the Spurs roster can play. And when they come in, they play well. And now that's what's starting to happen with the Nets. And as I said, you got to give tons of credit to Sean Marks, the GM, because he kept looking for guys, bringing guys in, shipping guys out, and now it's doing pretty darn well. And like I said, Sean Kilpatrick and Joe Harris were two very important pieces to this team earlier in the season. And neither of them has played in the last 10 games or so, and the team just keeps on moving, keeps on rolling. And it's so much credit has to be given to Sean Marks for getting these guys and recognizing who to keep and who to let go. And you have to give credit for Coach Atkinson, because these guys haven't quit at all. If anything, they're gaining momentum. And for a team that has the worst record in the league and really doesn't have anything to play for, they're just starting to hit their stride right now. And this builds up tremendous amount of momentum heading into next season and heading into the summer. And it's a great pitch in free agency for veterans. Look, we're turning this around. We've turned this around in one season, even without signing the big free agents, except for Jeremy, and with just putting it together, good coaching and making smart moves, and without having big draft picks. This is, it's just working really well, and the team is cool. The team has good guys and good character people. And that's the type of squad that guys want to play for. Obviously, you have the New York City market. That's going to attract people that want to be in a big market. So you have a developing team with a lot of good guys in one of the biggest markets in the country. I think this summer could work out pretty well. And as Todd said on Twitter, and I agree with him, honestly, you've got a lot of talent on the team right now. You just need guys to develop a little bit more, because many of them are young or inexperienced in the NBA. But there's talent on the team right now. And that's what we're seeing in some of these games. This team can compete. And Jeremy said right after the game, he said, look, we didn't play the way we wanted to against Washington. And they got beat down pretty good in that game. And there's been a couple blowouts since the All-Star game. But it's getting better and better. It's just improving more and more. And people asked me 2 weeks ago, do you think they can win 20 games? And I said, no, I don't think so. Now it's like, yeah, it looks pretty good. If they win 4 of their last 9 games, so if they go 4-5 in the last 9 games, they win 20 games. And I looking at the schedule, that looks doable for sure. And so it's again, if you're on the outside looking in, if you're not somebody who follows the Nets, then you're still going to think they're not any good. They're the worst team in the NBA with the worst record, and same old thing. But it's anything but the same old thing. This team is very much on the rise, and it's all starting to pay off. And it's just great. It's fun to watch, and you're definitely happy for everybody involved. So that's kind of the overview of what happened today and everything. And now I will go through my quick quarter-by-quarter notes here. First, Jeremy, at the very beginning of this game, looked like he was having trouble guarding Dennis Schroeder, which is not a surprise. Schroeder's super fast, and he, again, is one of these smaller, super fast guards that gives people trouble when you're guarding him, particularly with the way that the rules are set up right now. It really, really favors the perimeter players on offense. But then Jeremy kind of picked it up, And I think by right around the time when Jeremy came out of the game in the first quarter, Schroeder was like 1 of 6 from the field or something like that. Schroeder had, I think, 24 points in this game, but he also had 23 shot attempts. So that's not particularly impressive. Then moving into the second quarter, Jeremy had his third turnover of the game already, and he was extremely upset with the referee because basically Jeremy fell down and the ball like kind of drifted away from him, and obviously he felt like the guy knocked him down, which I believe was Schroeder guarding him at that moment. And when Jeremy came back down on defense, the play got stopped. Maybe a foul was called, and you could see Jeremy talking with the referee like, hey, what is going on? And so he's still not getting the respect that he needs from the refs. But if he keeps playing the way he is this season, he's going to get more respect. So I think will be changing in the time to come, and I think it's about time. Okay, moving on into the third quarter, Jeremy had to come out of the game relatively early in the third quarter because he got his 4th personal foul with 8 minutes and 15 seconds left in the third quarter. So usually he'd play till about 5 minutes left, but since he got that 4th foul, which was a charging call, which was also his 4th and final turnover, he came out then, and Isaiah Whitehead came in to replace him. Jeremy came back into the game with about, 10 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter, which is much earlier than he would usually come in. But because he had only been able to play a few moments in the third quarter, coach was able to bring him back earlier in the fourth quarter, and that was good. So Jeremy came back in 10.5 minutes left, and he played the entire rest of the fourth quarter. And I believe that's the longest he has played in any quarter since he has returned from the third hamstring injury. So that's also really good news for him to be able to play longer stretches of games. That is a really good thing to see. And he played extremely well in the fourth quarter. He had 7 points and 3 assists in the fourth quarter alone. And he also had 4 would-be assists. You know, as I've talked about before, whether it's guys miss shots or guys get fouled when they're going for shots after passes from Jeremy. So he after he came in the fourth quarter, he went on a drive and he scored a basket, and while he was driving to the basket, he inadvertently elbowed Schroeder in the face, and Schroeder went down hard. And I mean, you couldn't tell it on the first look, but then they showed the replay, and Jeremy just went to make his move and kind of swung at his elbow, but it definitely wasn't intentional, was not. The referees looked at it on a replay. No foul was called, no flagrant, because it was just a basketball move, and unfortunately, Schroeder was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Then they switched Jeremy over onto Jose Calderon, and in order to guard Calderon, and then they let I can't remember who was in the game at the time. It might have been Whitehead, it might have been Dinwiddie. They let the other player play defense against Schroeder. The reason this was done was probably so Jeremy didn't get any more fouls. That would be my guess. Maybe they also wanted to kind of help Jeremy out just from a speed perspective, but my guess more than anything else was they just didn't want him to pick up fifth foul because they needed Jeremy on the court if they were going to win this game. So it was a smart move by coach. Atlanta ended up in this game, I believe, with 26 offensive rebounds, which is crazy. It's amazing that the Nets won this game with that being the case. That is tied for the most offensive rebounds by any team in this NBA season, and it ties a mark that Denver set against the Nets, I think a couple of weeks ago. But that's just you just don't see a stat like that. That was incredible. And what I like with Jeremy down the stretch of this game was Atlanta was really picking it up. Like, they were picking up the energy and they were picking up the intensity. And in the past, there were times where, like that might be difficult for Jeremy. Like, sometimes it's said about Jeremy that he plays hard all the time, and that when everybody else starts playing hard, it's more difficult for him to keep up. But what you can see now is his game, his skill level, and his confidence level just keeps growing and going further up. So now when that happens, he can deal with it and still play well. This is why he was in the past thought to not be so great in the playoffs, because those are situations where it is higher intensity, it is higher effort, and then you think, okay, well, maybe some of the guys that are super athletic or whatever, they're going to take over in that spot, and somebody with maybe not as much explosiveness like Jeremy in terms of jumping and stuff isn't going to be able to do well. Well, now he can do well in that circumstance. And look, he's proven it. He's proven it before, but it's getting more and more comfortable for him to be able to do well in those situations. And that's a very good sign for his career going forward. It's getting better and better and better and better. And then my final note of the game was Brooklyn doesn't have super athletic stars. Jeremy and Brooke are their two best players. And look, Jeremy's super athletic in terms of speed. I mean, he's one of the fastest guys in the league in terms of straight speed. But again, I'm talking about explosiveness, like jumping and super elevating over guys to shoot and so forth. And that's a little bit of a limitation for Brooklyn. Brooke's not super athletic either. But both guys are very fundamentally sound, and they're good. And what you do in that circumstance is that you surround them with good athletes, which is kind of what Brooklyn has done. They have two very athletic guys in their starting lineup in Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and Karis LeVert. And that's how you do it. You got to give guys that are really athletic to Jeremy so that those are the guys he can pass the ball to that can finish with dunks and so on. And it's working out, obviously, and more talent might be coming in this summer, and we'll just have to see. Like I said, I know how athletic Jeremy is, but again, I'm just talking about in terms of primarily explosiveness, jumping, that type of thing. And super fast movement and this type of a deal. So the thing is that Brooke and Jeremy know how to succeed. They're good even if they're not the freak athletes in terms of the explosiveness. So it really doesn't matter. And like I said, they're making it work. It's great. And this was a really important win today, just to get the Washington loss out of the way. I should have mentioned previously I was not able to make a video for the Washington loss, as you probably know by now. I just something came up for me right before that game took place, and I wasn't able to watch the game. Therefore, I wasn't able to make a video. Jeremy did okay in that game. Of course, the team got blown out, did the Nets, but Washington is a better team than they were before the trading deadline and buyout season, I believe, and they're desperate. They're really trying to move up the standings in the East in terms of playoff positioning. They, of course, acquired Bojan Bogdanovic to their team from the Nets, and they also added Brandon Jennings as a backup point guard. I think he was signed as after he was bought out by the Knicks, I believe. So it's not the worst loss in the world. I mean, the Wizards just blew out the Cavaliers in Cleveland yesterday. So losing to the Wizards by a lot right now isn't any mark of shame or anything like that. That's probably the best way to say it. So that's pretty much it, wrapping up this game. Great win. Again, Jeremy, best player on the court. Brooklyn wins 3 of their last 4 games. Brooklyn is now 7-8 in the month of March. Let's just keep it going. Let's keep it going into the next game and keep this positive momentum building. The next game will take place 2 days from now, Tuesday, March 28th. It will be in Brooklyn, New York, against the Philadelphia 76ers. Philly is a beatable team. I think they lost Joel Embiid again to injuries, which is sad because he was having a great season. They're not very good. They don't have a bunch of wins. It's definitely, probably Brooklyn will be favored in the game. They can win that game. You're 8-8 in March, and you've won 4 of your last 5 games. That would just be really, really nice accomplishments for the team. So let's do it. Let's get it done. That game can be seen on YES Network or on NBA League Pass. That's about all I have to say for today. Again, Jeremy played great. He, again, maybe started not a little bit out of sync, as I think most of the guys did with the early game, but he picked up really well. He had a terrific fourth quarter, definitely Mr. Fourth Quarter, and the Nets are looking good. The Nets are coming on strong, and this is the way you want to finish the season, particularly if you're not going into the playoffs. You want to finish as well as you can, and the Nets certainly seem to be doing that. So very, very happy, very pleased with everything that's going on right now. Hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care. We will talk to you in around 48 hours from now as the Brooklyn Nets host the Philadelphia 76ers Tuesday, March 28th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We will see you